Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
And it's the first Thursday of the month. It's a Wellbeing Thursday, and for a change, Jackie's going to join us on this one. Part of our well-being, we want to try and remain focused and have some purpose in our early retirement life. And the way we do that is through some annual goal setting.
And we can't believe we're actually at the end of June. So we're at the end of our second quarter of the goals that we set in December. So it's time for us to get and review what we've been up to. So as we said, we can't actually believe we're at the end of our second quarter already, and it's time to get reviewing again. And actually, we're on the road. We are just at the end of our European road trip, and we are in the Alsace region, sat in one of their vineyards.
So one of the things we try and do is make ourselves accountable for our goals and have regular ways of checking in. One of the ways we do that is at the start of the year, we write down what we want to do. Secondly, we said that we were going to keep ourselves accountable to the camera and to you guys so that we're on it. And then thirdly, we try and review it every quarter so we don't get to the end of the year and realise we haven't touched on half of the stuff that we wanted to do.
So when we sat down in January, we set our goals around 4 different areas. The first 2 being careers. Now, obviously, we don't have a career. We're early retired, but our aspirations are still there. And health is another important area for us.
The final 2 areas, we want to look at relationships, because when we move out of work and into early retirement, sometimes maintaining quality relationships can be quite difficult. And then we wanted to remain lifelong learners, because we as teachers always believe that there was something new to learn. So we want to keep on learning as part of our early retirement.
When we retired and we were setting up our YouTube channel, we called ourselves Early Retirement Wanderlust because one of the big things we want to achieve out of our early retirement is the freedom to travel. And we've sat down and worked out how long we've actually been travelling in this quarter. We had 3 weeks when we did a southwest coast, Cornwall, Devon and Dorset trip, which was just fantastic. And we've spent the last 6 weeks on the road through Europe, and we've been into Croatia, we've spent time in Slovenia and in the Italian Dolomites, we've been to the Italian lakes, so we have had an amazing time travelling.
And one of our big aims for 2024 was to try and expand our horizons a little bit beyond our travels to date, which have been in Europe and North America, and to try and pick up a new continent. And we've had a little bit of development on that for later in the year.
We've had lots of recommendations from you as YouTube viewers and from quite a few of our friends and family. So we have booked a 7-week trip to Thailand later in the year, which I am so excited about. I've never been to Asia, totally new continent to us.
So in terms of planning, we have got an awful lot to do, because we have got a huge blank sheet of paper. We've got flights booked, and that's about it. So yeah, in the next quarter, we've got to do an awful lot of work prior to that trip. We don't necessarily see our YouTube channel as a job. It is something we absolutely enjoy, but we wanted to make a good a job of it as we possibly can. So we committed to try and make sure that we put out 2 videos a week, which we have done. And that really helps with our consistency. And I think it sort of helps us a little bit more in terms of getting used to being in front of the camera. And we also said for this quarter, we wanted to try and just give a little bit more of our real Jackie and Richard personalities, rather than just being a little bit stilted on camera. And I hope you might have realised that we've made a little bit of progress on that. We're feeling a little bit more comfortable with it. But then there's been another benefit to the YouTube channel that we never really thought we would get to.
No, it's grown quite quickly, and we've got over 12,000 subscribers now. And actually, we've started making a little bit of an income from it, which we are putting all of those resources straight back into our travel plans. So it means that we can actually have a little bit more scope in where we travel. So thank you. We're really enjoying the planning that we can do now with the little bit of extra money that we've got.
If you've seen our review of Q1, you would know that we made absolutely no progress on our garden renovations back in the Yorkshire Dales. And I can confidently report that we've still made absolutely no progress on that at all. I think as far as it went, Jackie was amazing and got stuck into the weeding. but we haven't actually made any progress on that, and I'm a bit worried that we're just sticking our head in the sand.
To be fair, we've not been at home to make any progress, but we are gathering lots of ideas on our travels. We keep seeing things that we really like and taking photos. So it's all up in here. We're formulating a little bit of a plan.
One of the things we knew we needed to do in part of our early retirement was to generate some passive income. And I've always been really interested in travel writing, and that's continued. So I'm really excited that later in this year we are going to get a couple of articles from our Southwest Counties road trip, and that's going to be published in VW Bus magazine. And we've also been writing for MMM Motorhome magazine. So again, that's something that's expanding and something that is bringing me an awful lot of joy.
I've taken over writing the blog that Richard set up when we first early retired. I committed in January to do one blog a week, which I pretty much have kept up with. It's really hard when we're on the road. Some of these blogs can take quite a few hours to write and edit and get uploaded, but I have kept up with it. The thing that I've perhaps been a little bit lax on is that I said I would try and do once a month just a feature blog on our early retirement. I've done a few, but that definitely is too hard to keep up with when we're travelling so much.
One of the things we committed to at the start of 2024 was to make sure that we keep track of our budget a little bit better. And the step that we put in place was to try and do a monthly review. And over the course of the first 6 months, we've been doing a monthly financial review between us, and it's actually been going all right. Ironically, right up until the 6th month, which is June. And again, common reason, because we're on the road, we just haven't had time and we just haven't got our act together in terms of doing that financial review.
And I have to say, we've probably avoided it a little bit because we're quite worried about what the finances will tell us for June. We have spent a little bit more than we thought we would on this road trip.
But that process of going through stuff on a monthly basis and just checking where we're up to has actually really worked and has kept us on track and has just reassured us that we're on the right lines. One of the things we knew that when we were coming into Q2 that we were going to be on the road a lot more, and it was going to be so much more important to be able to keep in touch with family and friends while we're on the road. And we have made a conscious effort to make sure that we're doing that on a weekly basis and that we are keeping in contact with the people that we love and making sure that they know where we are and that they are remaining in our thoughts.
Daft as it sounds, because we're early retired and we've got all the time in the world together, we did set out in January saying that we wanted to make sure that we had quality time together. And we've loved the travel that we've done over the last quarter, particularly the 9 weeks that we've been away. But actually that comes with its own issues that we could be together far too much. So Richard's also built in some areas where he's had some time away from me.
Yeah, I went away and did the Dales way, which I really enjoyed, and I think if Jackie's really honest, she really enjoyed. I was in the dark places of physical work and long days and beating myself up. And you?
I had a fab time. I had 5 days of just catching up with some friends and watching Netflix and having duvet days. It was ace.
And yeah, we both loved it.
Another target we set was obviously moving to a new community that we wanted to try and make sure that we were becoming part of that community. It's really hard when we're on the road, but we're lucky. The village that we've moved into does have monthly meetups, and we had a lovely afternoon tea with all the people in the village a few weeks ago.
And for me, a real priority in terms of relationships is with my mum, because my mum's got dementia. She's in a home at the moment, and I miss that contact when we are on the road. Mum is so much more settled in her home now, and in consultation with the home, we have started making regular phone calls to Mum and sending her postcards, because in the past that used to upset her, whereas now it's just so lovely. And for me to be able to speak to my mum a couple of times a week while we're away is just so nice. And even when we are not at home, I can be building those memories with Mum.
An area that we felt that was really important in our early retirement is looking after our health. And we set specific goals, or I set myself specific goals, that I wanted to get out hiking and walking purposely. I wanted to do over 300,000 steps every month and the equivalent of climbing Mount Everest 4 times in a year. And at the end of June, we are massively on track. I've done well over 2 Everests so far. It does help that we've been in the Alps and we've done lots of hiking and climbing, and I've been well over 300,000 steps every month, apart from February, which was very wet in the Dales. So we're doing okay with that. And I do feel that we genuinely are keeping ourselves really healthy. Richard's gone a step further.
Yeah, you might recall from Q1 that we hadn't really built in any cycling, and we both love cycling. I hadn't even serviced the bikes in Q1. So the bikes are fully serviced, we've brought them away with us, and we have been out and about, and being on the road just affords that opportunity. It's always nice to walk in new areas and cycle in new areas, and we definitely feel that we've upped our game on that, and we're enjoying the process as well. But being on the road does come with its unique challenges, and I just need to get my head around it a little bit, because at the start of the quarter I wanted to make sure that I was doing some daily strength work and some mobility work, and when you're living in a van that doesn't always happen, and you can wake up in the morning and it's hosing it down, so the last thing you want to do is get outside and do a stretch off. I just need to get my head around it, get my head in the zone in terms of being a little bit more like hippie and lightening up, and just realizing that when we're out in the mountains and we're on our bikes we're doing enough. So it's my problem that I've got to deal with.
And similar to Richard, I said that I would quite like to start doing yoga and maybe building in a routine of doing some daily yoga. That is just not going to happen when we're out and about in the van. But that again is okay, because I know that we are really active and I am feeling so much more healthy than when we were working and not getting out doing as much.
One of my big things for personal development in 2024 was to complete a long distance trek, and I've done it. I did the Dales Way, and somewhere up there I'll put a link to the video. I'm ever so proud of it. I'm ever so proud of the video, and it'd be fab if you have a look at it, because yeah, it was a really good learning experience for me, and it's something that I want to continue in the future.
Tied in with that, I was not committing to anything quite as strenuous as doing the Dales Way, but as a couple with our son Luke and his girlfriend, we are hoping to do the Three Peaks Challenge at the end of August, I think. So just making sure by doing my steps, my hikes, and getting lots of elevation in, feeling way up for the challenge at the moment.
One of the unique things that I challenged myself this year was to do some weekly sketching. And I have to be really honest, again, when I'm on the road, I haven't really been working that hard on that. It's so much easier to do when I'm sat at home, but it is something I'm really enjoying. It's not something I'm particularly good at, and it's just something that I need to get back to.
Something else that we both put into our targets was reading for pleasure, but mainly because we found that we weren't doing much reading at all, apart from for research for things. And actually we really enjoy just getting stuck into a novel. I've just recently finished reading a book about North Korea. It was a fiction book rather than non-fiction, which is what I've tended to read recently. And yeah, we're just really enjoying chilling out and reading.
And one of the things I wanted to do in terms of YouTube was to just get a few more creative ideas. So rather than just going down rabbit holes on YouTube, I've tried to be a little bit more purposeful and make a few notes on things that I watch on YouTube and ideas that I can take away and hopefully apply to our channel. And that's been going well, and it has made me just a little bit more intentional about my time when I'm watching YouTube.
Rich has been really modest. He's actually done quite a lot of research on things on how to get more unique and better footage. And I know from comments that people have said about some of our more recent videos, you're doing an amazing job. The videos are fab.
And we are enjoying what we do. So, that's the most important thing.
We know that goal setting isn't for everyone. It's just something that we do quite consciously so that we kind of can hold ourselves account to how we're spending our time in early retirement. I particularly would just literally drift from day to day and month to month and sit there at the end of the year going, what have we actually done apart from travel? Whereas this way, I've got things that we're thinking about intentionally. It's not for everyone. Some people just feel motivated enough just to get on with their lives.
So what do we do now? We have reviewed how we felt Q2's gone, and for us now we're going to sit down and think about what we want to get out of the next 3 months, and then we'll come back and hold ourselves accountable to the camera and see how we go. But that's it from us today, so see you later.
Bye.